Good morning. Welcome to my morning Squatch thought of the day. Today I want to talk to you. I was debating on how I want to present this to you. I really was. Because I got a recent blog that I have out. It's called Can Bigfoot Survive the Winter? Well, after trying to debate with myself, if I was going to share my recent blog with you through this morning video, I was like, well, let's get a little bit more specific. Let's get a little bit more grounded here. Let's ask a simple question here. And this here mainly goes or pertains more commonly with what's asked among skeptics and non-believers. All right, for those who understand about Bigfoot, and for those who believe that Bigfoot is more of a primate, and how they believe that primates are not able to survive in our country because we're living in a much colder environment compared to the rainforest or wherever it may be. You know, we really don't have tropical conditions here. Bits and pieces and parts throughout the, of the United States, yeah, we do. For those who follow and done enough research, many years ago, there's where there's a cold environments now, where there's cold locations now, there's been evidence of tropical plants and and other tropical evidence found in places such as Alaska. There's been primate fossils found in Texas. There's places that where people least expect anything from a tropical to a primate. People underestimate, what we have here or what we did have here and what could actually really be here now, or actually what is here now. So with today's Squash thought of the day, I want you to really think about this. And this is mainly going out to if you're a skeptic or a non-believer. You ask yourself, all right, first of all, one of the main common questions is, besides with all today's technology, why haven't we found them? Well, the other question among skeptics and non-believers is, if Bigfoot is a type of primate, which many of us do believe, regardless of what you think or say, can he survive here? Because if it, especially this time of year in the winter, we're dealing with severe cold temperatures. Okay, can a human alone be out there and survive that without just covered in hair? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So I'm not going to get into that because a lot of you believe that Sasquatch is a human. I don't believe that because there's a lot of information that if you carefully think about and consider that can rule that out. All right, amongst that, another thing too, if they were human, why aren't they populating with other people? Why aren't we seeing a larger population? Why aren't they being exposed? Okay, they're very elusive. All right, there's a lot of illustrations, a lot of things I could throw out there that could probably flip your mind, and some of the idiots out there will make an excuse for everything. But anyway, I'm not here to do that. Instead of asking the question, could Bigfoot survive winter? Could Bigfoot, being a primate, for those who believe that he is some form of primate, I believe he's a primate of his own species. Can he survive in the country compared to Africa or any other tropical rainforest? You got to look at, there's one specific large primate that is very important to understand and to look at and consider. Look at the mountain gorillas. A mountain gorilla, is able to adapt and survive in almost freezing cold temperatures. All right. And real briefly, I'm going to read through a blog that I just put out just the other day. And I don't know, it's getting some attention. But, for those who care about the real part of science and research, they would actually be paying attention to what I'm putting out there. Because I don't just put out made-up stories. I put out illustrations and information that back up information that will lead you into a logical conclusion when it comes to what Bigfoot is or whatever the subject of, So let me read something. Now, you got to consider, as I'm reading this is going to read about the winter times, about Bigfoot in the winter time. But there's a point behind this. I want to turn this into not just winter time, but I want to turn this into all the time. As most mammals that go into hibernation, they got to go through period where they have to eat a lot. They have to fatten up. They need to put on the calories. Because when they do go into hibernation, they go into almost a dormant state where they actually almost shut down. And while they're hibernating, sleeping, dormant, they're surviving off a third of that body fat. Okay? And then on the other hand, for the animals that don't migrate, for those who don't hibernate, the others migrate. They head to a much warmer climate, okay? North America is a very vast place. It's like saying, could they survive in Asia? Of course, a lot of primates in Asia, very common. It's essentially nonsensical to ask. John McKay gave a pretty complete answer, but I feel compelled to share this information with you. So, it's going to go as follows. Gorillas, specifically mountain gorillas, are the most cold adapted out of the extant apes. I think they handle anywhere that doesn't freeze intensely for a sustained periods of time. Per the location John already mentioned, I honestly think dietary requirements are more of a barrier to the snowy areas than purely the temperatures. They could gather together for warmth, body heat, or find a cave. What I've been telling you. I do believe certain times of year they do find caves and undergrowth where they can survive and escape the elements. Again, I do believe there's a population of squatches. I do believe there's a population where they do dwell together. So there you go. For those who follow me, I've been speaking on a lot of this information for a long time. Okay? Yeah, a lot of it's just theory and conclusion. But it's a fact when it comes to our known non-human primates. So I'm throwing facts out there from one known species to compare to the possibility of what is considered unknown. So maybe you guys might start understanding where I've been coming from this whole entire time. So, alright, so, as adaptation goes, and adaptation is a big thing I've always spoke on. There's a lot of change when it comes to adaptation. There's a lot of adaptation that even could develop behavioral, changes. All right, so there's other things we can go on to here to say. I'm not going to read this whole blog to you. Imagine over generations if a small human colony would live side by side with them and slowly influence them over the generations who adopt shelter or tool usage. Imagine. Now think Bigfoot. If a large mountain gorilla is capable of surviving the cold temps, there is simply a clever logical illustration as we listed and noted above. The key mentions are, again, we mentioned the cave dwellings and other shelters and the group gatherings for the body heat, to survive. Now that's just for the wintertime. Now these mountain gorillas, they can survive and they adapt through these cold temperatures. This is proof and evidence that a large primate, non-human primate, has a capability to adapt in a colder environment. Now think about outside of winter. Summertime they do just fine outside of wintertime because they strive and they become more active, just like a lot of the other wildlife. It's common sense, people. That's why I love sharing wildlife information with you, because you guys, like primates and other wildlife information that I share with you guys, and then how I compare it to Bigfoot, the possibility behind their behaviors and their patterns, this is what makes sense, right? I think maybe some of you guys might start waking up and understanding where I've been coming from. This is a good illustration right here. And again, on another note, I really don't care if you think or believe Bigfoot was a human, because it's no different than you or me butt naked out in the severe cold with just hair covering our body. We would not survive as a squatch or a mountain gorilla. So think about it. If Bigfoot was just a human, it wouldn't work that way. That's my point I'm trying to get there. If they were just a strictly human with just a covered hair, they wouldn't survive. Okay? It's just, yeah, they're smart. I'm not trying to underestimate them. They are very smart, highly intelligent. So with that being said, think about it. If a large mountain gorilla could adapt into the cold environment and strong enough to survive that, a SQUATCH, A lot of people like to compare Sasquatch to a gorilla. It's a good comparison. Really is. Think about it. I challenge you to take the time to study a mountain gorilla diet, their patterns, compared to what we may observe with Sasquatch here in North America. Is it really that hard to understand that we could have a large primate surviving here in the United States in a much colder environment or climate compared to the rainforest? Ladies and gentlemen, I think I raised a pretty good point here with my blog, and this information that's shared here, it supports, what we have here in America compared to a mountain gorilla out in the severe cold temperatures. That's my Squatch thought of the day. Everything I share with you, I try my best to present logically to where it makes sense to you. And as I always mention, I always have something, logically, always something to support what I share. This year, I shared a fact with you today. I shared some facts with you that I compared to the possibility of Sasquatch. There's always a fact to back up something. There's always a fact to support the possibility of something else. The mountain gorillas, the information regarding the mountain gorillas in the cold temperatures, that's fact. This is real stuff. So I'm just comparing it to the possibility. That's why we have Bigfoot here. They adapted. They've been here, many years ago. It said that they were, this was a much warmer climate. So very well may have been. But they adapted over a period of time. Just like the seasons. We have 4 seasons here. The cold weather comes, just like any other large predators, or large animals, or species, or even down to the smallest little mammals. When the weather changes, they go along with it. They change through the time. They adapt through the time. It's common sense. Common sense. Thank you. Keep it squatchy. I hope you're subscribed to this channel. Spread it, share it, do whatever it is like. And thank you for watching. Daniel Benoit, Squatch Thought of the Day.